I made a video exposing Nick30 for his weird behaviour with his...
So recently, a content creator known as Arcch has levied a few allegations against Nick30, a popular Fortnite creator, that he is a scammer. Now, this is just simply not the case. Nick30 is not some type of big scammer. He doesn't scam his child audience like people are trying to claim. This is just simply a lie. I did cover this Nick30 situation previously on the channel, where I said this situation really wasn't a big deal. Just the thing that I had criticism with Nick for is how he dealt with the situation. I don't think he dealt with it in a great way, and some of the things he was saying felt pretty inconsistent. This situation simply just wasn't that much of a big deal whatsoever. Yeah, Nick's responses weren't great, but there is no scam here, and I failed to see a scam whatsoever. This guy was the one donating, nobody forced him to donate, and, you know, Nick30's got no obligation to do anything in the donation. There is just simply no scam here. Maybe Nick30 responding by saying, you know, if you give me a Fortnite challenge, I will read it. Maybe he didn't put him in the best light, but there is no scam here, and to say that is even any close to a scam would just be a complete, utter lie and disingenuous. You'd just be a right dickhead if you said that. Now, after I released my video covering the situation, I ended up watching a few other people's coverages and was pretty shocked to see everybody calling Nick30 a scammer, so I decided to put a pinned comment on my video to, you know, make sure that people aren't running with this narrative that Nick30 is a scammer, because it is just simply untrue. I also ended up putting a community tab out about this because I was just shocked to see how many people were actually running with this narrative that Nick30 was this full-blown scammer or a scammer at all. But this narrative only seems to be growing, with people claiming that Nick30 is a scammer and not calling out Arcch for the things that he is saying. So in today's video, I want to go over some of the things that Arcch has been saying, disproving a lot of it, and disproving a lot of these common bullshit claims that are going around, which I thought would be pretty easy to decipher is, you know, bullshit. Because whilst I did give Arcch criticism in my original video and, you know, very much question this whole scamming narrative, I focus way too much on how Nick handled the situation and not enough about how this situation is complete bullshit, which I really want to rectify here. Because whilst I don't completely agree with how Nick30 handled the situation, calling him a scammer of any kind is completely disingenuous and slander. So for one, a common narrative now going round is that Nick30 scams his audience. Now this came around because Arcch, in his response video to Nick30, said that kids have come out with similar situations to him. Not only in this, but when I was making my original video, when Arcch was streaming, I reached out to him and asked if anything else was going on, and he had this to say about donations.
Samuel, he just deleted people's donations, like asking about my last video, and they were like £15 donations, and they were just being polite, like, oh, I'm a fan, like, I'm just curious what you think about that, if you've seen the videos on you that like that guy was making. And he just would flat out delete them from the chat. They were super chats, and he'd just get rid of them as if they were like some awful thing. He's just censoring all his streams.
Do you hear the emphasis on the money, them being donations here, right? This is just adding to this narrative that Nick30 is a scammer, which he just simply is not. I don't think removing the donos is the best idea, simply because, you know, it's giving more attention to this situation and people can use it for bullshit ammunition by saying you're censoring your stream. It would 100% just be better to leave it, move on, and ignore it, right? Don't respond in any way, shape, or form, right? Don't rise to it. And like stated previously as well, Nick30 has no obligation to read these donations or participate in these donations whatsoever. Like simply just no. Now, in Nick30's response to Arcch, Nick30 claimed that this guy probably ended up making $5,000 off of this whole situation, right? So realistically, this $10 really didn't matter. But in fact, Arcch did prove that, you know, he wasn't monetized, he didn't make any money off this situation.
No, I wasn't clout chasing or anything like that.
That's your community. Go show your ad revenue on that.
Oh, what? You want me to show my ad revenue? Okay, I will show you guys the video analytics to prove that I made no money. As you can see, there is no revenue here because I'm not monetized.
Now, whilst the claim that Nick30 made that, you know, this guy Arcch probably made $5,000, one thing Arcch didn't mention when he constantly kept repeating that, you know, I'm not monetized, is that in the description of his videos, he promotes his Fortnite content creator code. He's shilling his Fortnite content creator code off the back of this in his description. Not only that as well, but he's also going to garner an audience of some kind from this, right? He's getting views and subscribers from this, and even then saying that this video and these videos have already pushed him to monetization. Regardless if he actually made money from this situation has pushed him to be able to make money from his channel in the future from the audiences he's probably garnered from this whole Nick30 situation in the first place. So whilst Nick30's claim about $5 grand wasn't true, right, this is. he will gain something from this in the long run. Whilst I have my issues with Nick30's response, Arcch's response to Nick30 itself isn't good, and it's full of dishonesty and making himself out to be this victim. The whole video, Arcch's saying, you're lying about me, you're lying about this, you're lying about this, but, you know, you called him a scammer. That is a lie. And whilst I think Nick30's response was very 50-50, and, you know, I maybe don't agree with him over-exaggerating to this extent, for example.
It's the same thing as going up to someone and giving a homeless person $5 and then saying, dance for me.
You know, I don't think that's really comparable, right, whatsoever. But at the core of this quote-unquote Nick30 situation, if you want to critique Nick30, it's just something dumb, right? You're just critiquing that, you know, he didn't respond maybe in the best way possible. That is it. There is no big story here. It's not that he's a scammer. This is just daily, weekly shitter drama, if you want to call it anything. The real issue here is Arcch making himself out to be this big victim, his wording of certain events, and making it seem like Nick30 is a scammer, which a lot of people have just openly accepted. Another thing I don't like about Arcch's response in particular is the fact that it is 30 minutes for no apparent reason, and he stops Nick30 basically every couple of seconds.
Okay, let's see.
1.3k views, 1.3k views, 1.8k views, 1.3k views, 106,000 views.
Yeah, no, that...
Like, what do you mean, yeah, no? He hasn't even made a point yet. He's just going over how many views individual videos have, right? Regardless if you agree with Nick30's point he's about to make here, right? You've just stopped the guy from responding before he's even been able to respond, right? You've made a 5-6 minute video talking about how Nick30 is a scammer. At least let the guy respond before you just immediately butt in and try and cut him off. There's another just incredibly outrageous point that Arcch makes throughout all of this, right, in both of his videos, which I really want to highlight here.
I'm 19 years old, but as far as he knows, I could be anywhere from 5 to 10, as his demographic is mainly little kids.
For one, you have to be 13 to be on YouTube and have a YouTube account. I know that kids are on there, but, you know, that is just fact. Secondly as well, how many 5-year-olds do you know that are donating like $10 odd to Nick30? We're talking about 5-year-olds here, right? Also, how many 5-year-olds are making Fortnite challenge videos? Like, this is just an outrageous claim, regardless if you want to say maybe the parents got involved or whatever. Also, what parents doing this as well with their kid, right? Like, this is stupid. If anybody is going to be donating on YouTube or to Nick30, right, it's going to be teenagers, right? It's not going to be 5-year-old kids. By saying this, you just enhance this idea that Nick30 is scamming literal 5-year-olds and his impressionable audience. Like, in regards to this whole scamming narrative, right, and not his responses or how inconsistent he is, he's doing nothing to his audience here. Like, there is no argument to be made here. You can be critical to Nick30 for how he handled and responded to the situation, right? I did that in my first video, but to claim anything other than that is just absolutely absurd.
I did have a lot of respect for Nick30, but for all of you who watch him, do you really want to support someone who's this ungrateful? As far as he knows, I could have been a kid using my Christmas money asking for something so simple, but he ended up just being rude and honestly acting like a spoiled child.
I mean, how manipulative do you have to be here, right? To go, you know, I could have been a 5-year-old kid, you know? I could have been using my poor parents' Christmas money, right? My crippled mum's Christmas money. I mean, okay. Like, if people want to make the claim that maybe Nick30 was acting a bit rude or a bit off, okay, fair enough, but I don't think that's that big allegation, right? That would be even worth a tweet. This is a situation that really didn't need to be a situation whatsoever. Arcch really didn't need to make a video claiming he was a scammer, right? Because that's just simply untrue. Nick30's response, whilst it wasn't the best, I can understand why he was so mad. But to end off the video, I would like to offer Arcch to prove to me and everybody else how Nick30 is actually a scammer. How has he actually scammed his audience? Please throw up some statistics, you know, bring up some definitions. Show me how Nick30 has scammed his audience at all.
I know this video probably won't do that well, but after this happened, I felt like I had to show people the experience of donating to Nick30.
I had to share my experience with Nick30. He's wording it like he got sexually assaulted or groomed by Nick30, right? Like, what do you mean your experience? You donated to the guy, he ignored you. There is no experience to be had there. Now, in my original video, I was critical of Arcch and the weird narrative he was forming around Nick30 being a scammer and his complete lack of control around donating money to him. But what I wanted to do in this video was be more critical of Arcch, right? Going over why he's bullshitting people. Because I feel like in my original video, right, whilst I critiqued Arcch, I also went over Nick30's response quite a lot. Because in my original video, my main focal point of the whole video was how Nick30 responded to the situation, right? Not the scamming thing, because, you know, I pointed out pretty quickly that, you know, this is a nothing situation. But in this video, I really wanted to just dispel this weird narrative that is growing pretty rapidly that Nick30 is some type of scammer. Genuinely watch Arcch's painstaking 30-minute response. It's awful, it's very manipulative, right? It's just dreadful, right? And hopefully you come to the same conclusion that everybody should be coming to, that Nick30 is not some type of scammer, right? It's very clear he's not. You want to call him anything, but right, maybe a man-child, right? Like, I think that's pretty clear that maybe Nick30 is a little bit of a man-child. Not for this, just in general.